Hello friends, welcome to Tech Cyber Channel. So this video is gonna be a demo follow-up on the video I initially did on enumerating my SQL service. So we jump right into it. So in the previous video, I went through I think 6 steps on how we can enumerate my SQL service. So that's what I'm gonna follow. So the first step I explained to was to try to do a net discover. So sudo let's discover. We identify the range. I already have it here, so I'll just get into it. So we wait for this discover to scan and then show us all the available hosts we have on our network. So I already know the IP address of the Metasploitable 3, which is Windows 2008. That's a vulnerable machine. That's going to be our target machine. I already know the IP address is 192.168, this one, right? So I know it's around, it's available. Now I can, and the next step was to try to do a ping, right? To send a ping command to it. So I'm just gonna do ping. We need only 4 packets, right? Sent 192, and then the IP address 168.1.20, right? Great, awesome. So we received 4 different reply or responses that shows that our host is alive and is accessible. So we can start a port scanning. That's the third step. So with the port scanning, I'm gonna do sudo nmap. So I'm gonna use the nmap for the nmap2 for the port scanning, like I already explained. So we need to identify the various versions of the services in the the target machine. So 168 dot sorry, missed something here. 192.168.1 that's no, so we already know, right? So 20. Right, so we wait for the system to do our port scanning for us to identify the various versus services running on our target machine. Right, so our port scanning is down. Now let's see. So we can see the various port numbers and their respective services. Now the respective services running on those various port numbers. And because I added the SV flag to it, I'm able to see the various version of the services running on this host, right? The target host. Now our focus is gonna be on MySQL. That's gonna be the focus for this particular video, right? So now that we're done with the port scanning, which was I think the third step, right? Yeah, that was the third step. Now we move on to the fourth step. Now we have the service, right? We know the service is available for us to enumerate. So now let's start with the enumeration. And I already explained that with the enumeration, we're gonna use the Nmap scripting engine. So let me just open a new terminal. Yeah. Okay, so for us to get to the scripting, the verse enough scripts, let's see. So we do ls, so I already have it right. Yeah. So I use the grep, right? The grep command to be able to filter out. In fact, there are a lot of scripts, right? So I just wanted to filter out only the scripts I personally need. Okay, now there are so many scripts available for us to perform so many kinds of activities on my SQL service, right? So let's try some of them, but our focus is gonna be my SQL enum, right? But let's try some of them, okay? So to be able to use it or try, we do sudo nmap. Um, then we do So when we check, right, what's the port number for my SQL service? You can see it's 3306. So that's gonna be port number 3306. And then we run the script. So dash that script equals now. Let's try and use my SQL info, right? So my SQL info, right? So we don't have to add the .nse to it. So yeah, I think pretty much that's it. Now let's see. Right, I just almost forgot. So the IP address of the target machine. Uh, yeah, so 1.20. Now we're set. Enter. Okay, so we need to enter Kali's password. Now let's see what this kind of script is gonna help and the kind of information we can get from that. Let's see. Interesting. So we have some output here. So we have some information, right? So we can see we have the protocol, we have the version, the thread, we have a lot of information, right? Hmm. So a hacker, any penetration tester or anybody who wanna try to gain access to the MySQL system could find some of these. For example, the version really important. Now let's try another script. Let's see. Okay, so let's go to okay, let's go to users. Let's see if we can find something. Sometimes it doesn't work, but let's see what we can find here. We have an output, but this didn't really provide us with any kind of information. It just provided us with what we already know, right? So let's try what we actually the main focus of this video, and that's my SQL enum, right? So that's what we're gonna use to enumerate my SQL. So my SQL enum, sorry, enum. Now let's see. And we have an output here. Now let's see whether we can find something valuable here. So we have valid usernames. That's a good here, right? So we see root. Root is a user on this SQL service, and this output is showing us or is telling us that with root as the username and an empty password, we can get access to MySQL. So you see, we performed enumeration and we've gotten this like valuable information. So let's see. Let's try it. Okay, let's try to connect to MySQL using the valid credentials we found using the enumeration. So we do my MySQL minus u. So that's the username. It showed us we can use roots. Now, the host, right? What's the target machine? So it's 192.168.1.20. So that's the IP address of our target machine. And now dash P flag is for the password. Now we can see here, it says the password can be empty when we are using root, and that is a valid credential. So I'm just gonna leave the password as it is and then press enter. Okay, so enter. And we're in. Hooray! Congratulations. Yeah. So we're in MySQL, right? And you see, it's quite interesting. We use the Nmap scripting engine, specifically MySQL enum, and it gave us this wonderful information, right? It showed us with root as the username and then an empty password, you can still get access to it. Now, with my little database skills, let's see. So we can do show database. So these are the various databases we have. Now let's try use MySQL. Yeah. All right. So that's has been activated. Now let's do show. Okay, describe. No, let's do show tables. Okay, so we have these various tables in there, and you see with this, let's do select star from the table user, and yeah, so we have some information. So this brings us to the end of our video. We've been able to enumerate MySQL and gain access. Thank you very much, and do subscribe to my channel. See you next time.